Hello, I'm Mr. Roche. As you can see here, I have been portrayed in many mediums. I've whiteboard and cake pop and holiday decoration. My background, I grew up outside New York City. I came to North Carolina when my mother would complain and I would go shopping with her about how we had to follow someone to their car to get their grocery cart. I knew there was a world out there where grocery carts were available. Turns out North Carolina was that place. I got degrees in chemistry and English, met my wife, who was also doing a chemistry and English degree. I worked in research for a few years, and then my wife and I went to Ohio State to do our graduate work. I got a master's in organic chemistry and then taught 2 years at the Wellington School in Ohio. We then moved back to North Carolina. I did the research again because they were going to pay for us to move back. I worked at RTI and we studied drug addiction and cures for drug addiction mostly. We also did some cancer and other things as well. Researched there for about 15 years. In the process, toward the end of that, I started with an education master's of science education at NC State University, which I just finished in 2019. The goal of this course is to sort of rekindle your love of science and give you confidence for success and how to think your way through a science course. I put everything that I do in class, all my lectures, all my demonstrations on YouTube as YouTube videos. There's a channel for me there. I also like to follow the advice of an assistant principal I had, the first one to hire me actually, and it was middle school math out of research. She was the one who hired me, and she said that I'm a scientist and I should embrace experimentation. Because of that, I have done some work trying to figure out the mastery method of testing and such. All right, to that end, as I'm not afraid to fail because I've been a research chemist and because my assistant principal told me that, this rock here, this is in Kitty Hawk, is where the Wright brothers took their flight from. And I love that they have these three rocks. These three rocks are quote unquote failures, failed experiments that they had. The actual successful rock is here at the tree line. And I love that there's monuments to their trials and learning from their trials because that's what science is. If I gave up after my reaction didn't work, I would not have lasted 20 years as a research chemist. So you need to make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, and move on. That is much of what science is. So at the end of the year, I'll ask students to fill out a survey. This is one of the things I ask about, was the grade a reflection of your effort using the mastery method? This was absolutely the case, where you can see here over 77% of students agree that they had their efforts reflected in their grade. Is grading fair in this class? Again, over 97% believed in this mastery method, that that was a fair thing. My upcoming class, I asked them how do they rate their understanding of middle school math, because that's what is so important in chemistry. I am used to working with groups that do not do well with math that they learned in middle school. I taught middle school math as that first job, so I understand a little better what they went through and what they may be understanding. As a part of this as well, I asked them what are some of the things they like about the course. These are the ones that really touched my heart. I really try to make it a non-judgmental area in my classroom so that questions are welcomed and embraced, and students definitely feel that way. Also, with Wake Tech and my online course, I ask them just what am I doing correctly? How's things going? These are some of the comments that I'm proud of in that regard. Like the YouTube videos, I have a whole YouTube channel. So the last thing I tell people when they're taking chemistry, they have Michael Roche, and if they have Michael Roche in their corner, it turns out, thanks to nomenclature, they have a chemical hero. I hope that helps introduce me, and I appreciate your presence.